Father, we're grateful to Thee for this evening that we have to meet together as a City Commission and staff and public here from Leesburg. Grateful for the year that we've had this year, and as it comes to an end, for all the things that we've been able to accomplish. We ask Thee to be with us this evening as we discuss the affairs of the city and as we go into the new year. Especially bless those that stand in need of particular blessings this time in Leesburg as they go through challenges and struggles. And we're grateful for this Christmas and holiday season, and ask that the spirit of giving and peace and unity be with us and always, and not just at this time. And we say these things in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have no proclamations, but we do have a presentation on our NERC compliance by Glenn, our electric director. Exciting stuff.
Exciting stuff. So, Glenn Spurlock, Electric Director, City of Leesburg. I'm here tonight to provide the Commission and the Mayor with the annual assessment results. So for 2017 year, we have to be compliant as a NERC registered entity, as a distribution provider. And so at the end of 2017, we take staff that aren't involved in performing compliance and act as independent assessors to make sure that we have followed all rules and regulations. So, and then after we've done that, we're required to come before you and let you know how we did. So this is that. Next year it'll be earlier in the year, not the last meeting in December. I apologize for that. But who actually has control of the clicker? I do. So can we there we go. Okay, so the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, which is the federal equivalent to our Florida Public Service Commission, they have selected NERC, North American Electric Reliability Corporation, to have them oversee grid reliability throughout North America. That's Canada, that's the US, and portions of Mexico. And you can, I was going to point, but I can't point that way. If you look at the map over here, we are in the FRCC region, which is the Florida Reliability Coordinating Council, and we have certain unique geographic situation here where we cannot import power from the east or the west or the south like almost every other state in the continental US. So that makes us unique, and that's why we are today a standalone region versus these much larger regions combined of multiple states. So throughout, well, let me also point out that we are immediately adjacent to this one here called CERC, Southeast Reliability Coordinating. So throughout 2017, the year we are assessing, NERC decided to modify 12 reliability standards with 62 individual requirements that applies to us. They then added 4 additional reliability standards with 10 additional requirements that we had not anticipated before the beginning of the year. So let me cut to the chase. We've assessed, we've evaluated what performance happened on NERC compliance throughout 2017, and Leesburg Electric was found to be 100% compliant throughout 2017. The reason we delayed the presentation to you because there were some other activities going on that I wanted to include in the presentation. So what occurred was the FRCC region and Leesburg Electric worked together to have our registration, NERC registration, modified from a distribution provider to a distribution provider with under-frequency load shed systems only, which means it reduces the number of compliance requirements that we have to focus on that they're going to assess and audit us for. And that took place and was approved June 5, 2018. And I just want to also, there's one more item and then I'll be done. I'm making this real quick. In June, July timeframe of 2019, the FRCC is very likely, it's been discussed at length, is very likely to stop being the oversight for reliability compliance for us, and they're going to merge that function in with CERC. Okay, now the challenge with that is CERC has its own unique variances of the NERC standards that we now will have to modify and get into compliance before that takes effect. So that's the things that have happened recently since the assessment was complete, as well as what we're expecting to happen in the near future. We'll be diligent and stay on top of all of these things. Any questions?
Once you're merging with the southeast, is that going to be any problem as far as, you know, us being surrounded by three sides by water and none of them? So have you got anything additional that you're going to have problems with?
Well, we used to be, many years ago, Florida used to be the Florida sub-region of CERC.
Okay.
And it was decided to separate because of the uniqueness of our geography, because their standards didn't always work with our unique geography. So there's going to be many meetings that are going to take place prior to the merger. And we're going to see if we can't influence FMPA, maybe ourselves involved in some of those discussions to make sure that happens into a reasonable approach to the two organizations coming together.
I noticed that the Panhandle's been in the south.
Yes.
They've been in the southeast, right? So
Yes.
So have they had any issues that that would be concerning to?
Well, the Panhandle doesn't have our uniqueness because they actually have power connections to their west, to the north, and to the east. Okay? The peninsular Florida is what is in the FRCC region, and because it's that peninsula, there is no interconnections to the sides. So within the peninsula, if we lose major generation, like happened in Florida down in FPL in 2008, we had to operate an under-frequency load shed scheme from the Keys all the way up to Gainesville, dropping customers by all the utilities to bring the generation load match back together. And based on electronic monitoring, they actually saw the disturbance in Canada when that event occurred, which is why we had all the federal agencies in Florida trying to figure out what happened.
Did they ever figure it out?
Oh, yes, ma'am. FPL was fined somewhere between $24 and $26 million cash. They also had to commit to about $4 million worth of modifications to their system, and they also had to undergo extreme scrutiny on every standard, not just the one that wasn't followed at that point. At that point, NERC was looking for somebody to make an example of to show how they could wield the hammer, so they did.
One other thing.
Yes.
You don't have control over this, but what about these other areas? Now, how are they addressing the static and whatnot in their grids, their power grids? If there's ever a control that can shut down this power grid coming from, all right, let's use the word terrorist.
Okay.
But you know, if
think-
anything's happening, are they looking into this?
Are you referring to like an EMP event?
EMP, yes.
Okay, yes. There is a NERC standard. I'm not positive where it stands right now, but it does. It is something we're working on through
Okay.
NERC, and it is intended to make the system more robust to withstand an EMP event, such as from terrorists or solar plasma events from, obviously from the
The sun, right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, onto the consent agenda. Routine items are placed on the consent agenda to expedite the meeting. If the commissioner staff wish to discuss any item, the procedure is as follows. 1, pull the item from the consent agenda. 2, vote on remaining items with 1 roll call vote. 3, discuss each pulled item and vote by roll call. Have any items to pull?
I'd like to pull 4C3
Okay.
so it can be read.
I have nothing.
We need to pull 4C1 and 4C2.
Right.
I'd like to pull 4C4.
Oh, 4C4.
So C1 through 4. Any other items? Discussion? Discussion from...
For
we
approval
don't-
of the remaining
yeah.
items, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Okay, a discussion on the, on that. Okay, roll call?
Commissioner Bowen,
Yes.
Commissioner Christian,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurley,
Yes.
Commissioner Dennison.
Yes.
Mayor Robuck.
Yes. So on to 4C1, and we need a a nomination because we 2 applicants. Are either the applicants here?
Man, it's let me look at. What is it? 4C.
One.
Please pick.
We have the
I'm trying to remember the names.
Rolando Reyes, who I believe has been on for 2 years, and then Carlton Richard, who is another applicant.
Yeah, I really don't know either one of them. I move that we stay with Mr. Reyes.
And I second that because like the other applicant, he wants to be on any board, so I'm sure he doesn't mind being on another type of board if one's available.
Okay. Any other discussion? Discussion from the public? Roll call?
Commissioner Christian?
Yes.
Commissioner Hurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Dennison?
Yes.
Commissioner Bone?
Yes.
Mayor Robeck?
Yes. 4C2 is the same way. We have the existing applicant who has been on for 1 year, Ronnie Kohler, and then the same gentleman, Carlton Richard, applied as well.
I like once we stick with Mr. Golden. For another
Second.
term.
Any discussion? Discussion from the public? Roll call?
Commissioner Hurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Dennison?
Yes.
Commissioner Bone?
Yes.
Commissioner Christian?
Yes.
Mayor Robeck?
Yes. 4C3?
I'll introduce that to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, designating the sidewalk around Veterans Memorial Park the Don Van Beck Memorial Walk and authorizing placement of a memorial placard and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second. I just asked that it be pulled just so it could be read into the record and just recognize the work that Mr. Van Beck did and at the park. And I know he wanted to accomplish more there, but he did so much that a lot for he and his family and the veterans to be proud of.
Absolutely. And I'll just note that it's not just a sidewalk for people who haven't been there. It's a whole walking trail around the park.
Yeah, I'm assuming the commission will approve the resolution. Once this happens, we'll get with Public Works and we'll get our typical sign put up that names the walkway after that. So we'll endeavor to do that, assuming you approve the resolution.
Great, thank you.
Yep. Any discussion from the public? Roll call?
Commissioner Dennison?
Yes.
Commissioner Bone?
Yes.
Commissioner Christian?
Yes.
Commissioner Hurley?
Yes.
Mayor Robeck?
Yes. 4C4.
I'll introduce and ask to be read by title only, please.
Resolution of the City Commission, excuse me, of the City of Leesburg, Florida, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement for management services with Fascia Bella Inc. and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second.
Yeah, well, I asked for this one to be pulled. I think Dr. Emery is doing a good job. I'm not unhappy with what we're getting, but I've said before, I just don't think it's wise to spend, double the money on $150,000 a year on public access TV. I think we're getting a good service for the lesser amount. I have no problem with the amount of coverage we're getting. I can't support this amount of money.
And I've got to disagree with that because I think what's being produced and what's coming out is well worth the additional money. I think that it might be lacking from the commission that we're not directing it to be used more as a economic development type fund where some of these things going out all over the internet and the cable companies are actually bringing more and more viewers from outside of the area looking at Leesburg as a relocation area. So I think it's doing a great job. It's working with the schools, it's working with the individual groups, and I just think with additional funds this could grow and we can really use this for economic development?
Well, I'm a little, I mean, I'm with Commissioner Dennison on this. I think just thinking back to the meetings that we had, especially during budget time, you know, we were pretty much in favor of raising that budget, and the criteria surrounding that was, excuse me, that we felt that a couple of factors that came into place. Number one, you know, with the money that we've been paying for that, she's had to spend a lot of time going out and getting other, shows and different things to subsidize the money to pay for the coverage. Number two, they've been running on a shoestring, and we haven't been able to get the full quality production that some of the guys have been asking about. So, you know, for me, it falls into several things. I mean, do I think it helps us as an economic engine? Yes. To what degree? I don't know. We had talked about that. I definitely know that it is also a huge, huge quality of life thing, because if you look at all the nonprofits that are served on here, that are represented, whether it's our schools, whether it's programming with our schools, teaching students how to do production, things of that nature. If you look at the vets, I mean, we could go for a list if you guys looked at that proposal that she said, or that she sent us. And then if you look at, we were saying we're willing to raise the bar and then put this out for bid, and we've been talking about that for years, and so we finally say, let's put it out for bid and see what our money's worth. And for whatever we were willing, or with word, I don't really know why, but nobody even put in a bid except Anne Marie. So here, we wouldn't continue the contract. We make them jump through all the hoops. We say we want more and we want it better, and we're willing to pay that. And then when nobody else jumps in the arena for that, we just say, well, forget it. And I have a little issue with that. I mean, this is very broad span. Dr. Anne Marie has done a tremendous job for us for the last, 4 years or 5 years now. And heck, I wouldn't work for $75,000. Just being honest, and then to say run a production company on that with your own equipment, and then I understand that it's more. I mean, I do get that, but if you look at what we have on the broadcasting networks that we're using, and if we had to start paying for that, I mean, for the exposure on the 3 networks that we're on, you're probably looking $50,000 to $75,000 a month that we would pay for the broadband exposure that we have. So, I mean, I think that what it can be to the next level, and I think this is just a 3-year contract that we were offering, and I don't know. I mean, I think if you consider all the factors into it, I don't really think that is out of line at all, and that's my opinion.
I don't know, maybe in a minute, Dr. Anna Marie can talk a little bit about what we're going to be getting, but related to this is that I felt for some time that we should have had some sort of a marketing campaign that we've done for Leesburg outside of Leesburg itself, and really let people know what Leesburg is about, and whether these monies could have been allocated for that or what that program is. We just really haven't ever gone anywhere with that, but I think we're missing an opportunity. I'm going to say that by my observation, the word is getting around about Leesburg, and it's reflective in the people who are moving to Leesburg from Osceola County, from Kissimmee, and so forth. And so the word of mouth is getting around, but I don't think that we're getting I think Leesburg can do better, and the people that are being attracted to come to live to Leesburg, and the income levels that could potentially be garnered to come in, and that takes a little bit of effort, so that people, the image that we get of Leesburg in the media is the shooting and the school and the this or that goes on. And so if you're anywhere in the Orlando area, that's probably your first thought that you're going to have about Leesburg is something negative. And we're not doing anything at all to overcome that, and to say, look at what we're doing in Leesburg with the parks, the improvements that we've done, the opportunities for business, where we're located. We haven't done anything like that. and we've left it all to just what is going on. And I don't think I frankly don't think that's sufficient with what's going on, because I think there's predominantly, from what I've seen, there's not a focus on Leesburg. I think it's generally for Lake County and and substantially a lot of the restaurants that are being promoted and so forth. They're not in Leesburg, and so we kind of are counterproductive at the same time by using the Lakefront TV. And the way that we've been using it, I don't have a problem with the $150,000 for a station that's being used to promote Leesburg in the way that I think that we need to be being promoted, and to go with a marketing campaign for Leesburg. But I just don't know what I don't know what we're getting that's going to go towards that, and I think we don't have a full picture of a campaign to go out there and promote Leesburg. So.
Well, and to speak off that, I agree with you, and I think that's one of the things that we had talked about, and I don't want to speak for Dr. Anne Marie, but I definitely felt that by us going to this would allow the focus to be Leesburg, not Eustis to Various, where based on some of my conversations, and you can chime in, that was almost a necessity, trying to generate funds to help it keep it going. I mean, I think that if we do this, it ought to be Leesburg, 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 and then maybe with her expertise, she could find ways to reach out beyond the area to help us with branding and help us with trying to pull people when they're doing their viewership, different media outlets that she has access to. I definitely agree with you. I want it to be Leesburg. I don't want it to be Lake County. I want it to be Leesburg.
I totally agree. And first of all, I want to just say it's been an honor and pleasure to work with this commission. It's been 4 years.
Well, okay.
Seems like yesterday. As per the request for proposal for the $150,000, simple terms, larger budget, more bodies, more Leesburg. $75,000 a year, just so folks, I just make it record, doesn't go in my pocket. There's a lot of filming, not only the meetings, the public service announcements, this veteran show, coverage of parades, events, really trying to do the best we can with the $75,000. That goes out to stringers, editors, scheduling. It has been a shoestring budget, and a lot of the focus, as city manager mentioned, has been to be able to do more quality programming in regards to the restaurants and try to get people to come to the area, has been through production grants, and that's a job in itself. So simply with a larger budget, that will give us the ability to bring on 2 additional videographers, somebody to beef up our digital platform. I know Mayor Roebuck is I know in the sense that we do have a very strong category. We get phone calls every day from folks who enjoy watching our programming from the villages, that 50-plus category on Prism and Comcast. But we do have the technology via our new FlexLight server system to really have a stronger digital platform. And the cell phones, iPads, the digital platform is something that I definitely want to beef up. I simply did a quick little campaign a couple months ago, 30-second spot, real Florida, real close. I had fun putting that together. I kind of ate the budget on that, but it really did prove that within a matter of days we had, I haven't checked locally, but recently, but we had double digits in regards to that video having a great response, to the point that current day Grizzard Realty and realtors in the villages are using Real Florida, Real Close as a campaign to get people to buy homes in Lake County. So my goal is to become the voice of Leesburg. City of Leesburg right now is actually the only city putting money into it besides the stormwater campaign. Groveland, Mineola, all the other cities have been giving some grants to the city of Leesburg in regards to producing stormwater PSAs. So the whole concept, if you looked at the proposal in the past, there was like a percentage that went to Facibella for new productions. What I propose is I want to keep this very clean. I want to keep this as a true government channel. So if any grants do come in, it goes into a general fund for the city of Leesburg, and a small percentage would go to an operations maintenance if, God forbid, some equipment needs to be upgraded or repaired. So, so basically, larger budget, more bodies, more Leesburg.
Well, I thought the percentage too.
No, yeah, that's correct.
It was really high.
And I don't mean to interrupt, but The crux of this agreement, that I will say the struggles with Lakefront, from my perspective, the struggles with Lakefront TV has I think been since inception on how they function and the direction they've gotten. And towards that regard, the original agreement essentially kept city expenses to a bare minimum, and then put fundraising and other type of grant, or I think we call it public service grants in the agreement, on Facci Bella. And so in doing that, they then had to, that hurt the city, because then we lost a bit of control on programming. And so then the production company is out shagging down PSAs, trying to fund themselves because we're underfunding. So we lose a bit of control on programming. And the agreement was 80-20. Whatever money they brought in, the Facci Bella kept 80%, we kept 20%. So what this agreement does, and we talked about this in broad terms, we talked about this in broad terms in the budget workshops, and I didn't feel the commission really gave a consensus. And so I had a conversation in the budget process with Dr. Anna Marie about, well, maybe here's what we can do, something different, brought it to you guys. I don't think there was consensus from the commission. The contract ended, so we went out to RFP and kept it very broad. Long story short, I think what this contract does is, yeah, it increases our expenses double. We pay about 75 now. We'll go about 150 in the proposal. But that whole PSA dynamic is now changed. It's essentially stripped out. And if there are any PSAs out there, then 100% of that money comes back to the city. But I think we split it 75-25. 75 would go into the general fund, which would then, if we go out and get some PSAs and these type of things, hopefully that would offset an increase in our general fund cost for the $150,000 payment. And then we'd stick some money in a equipment replacement fund, so that as they go replace equipment or TV cameras break down or whatever, there's that fund. And there's a caveat in the contract that any expenditure made out of that fund be done pursuant to our policy. So that leaves you in control of how we spend that money, not Facci Bella. And then the second thing I would point out is the evaluation and the programming criteria has changed, because now it's controlled by the city manager's office. So that's good, because I work for you all. You guys want certain things. Then there's more oversight on programming, which gets back to if Dr. Anna Marie is going to do programming, she needs additional money, more staff. So the intent is to bring it around and increase the funding, change the structural method. That's the intent.
How much was there in PSA last year in revenue?
Oh, I have a breakdown. I think I give it to you, Al. I think we brought in about close to $25,000.
And so if it's that same number again,
And actually, I talked to Darryl Crane before he retired. I'm already getting phone calls from Groveland and Minneola. See, basically for the different, in the sense of water conservation, they have to, in order to get grants from the state, they have to, of course, do so much public outreach. A lot of them, in the sense of all the cities last year, gave $1,000, and under guidance of Darryl Crane, he recommended that possibly that was a low figure. So, anyway, so there are, the cities are turning to us as a platform for them to get those grants, and so that could be significantly higher this year as I learn. I never did a public access channel before, so I learn. But there are funds out there from all the different departments, and probably even internally that could be assisting with Lakefront TV for the increase. So,
excuse me for probably a poor analogy, but just something happened today. So I was driving back to my house, and there's somebody has an antique car that sits in their garage. I've never seen the car. It's always under, the garage is open and it's always under a cover. And a gentleman was with me, and I said, I wonder what kind of car that is. And he says it's a '68 Cutlass, because the cloth is torn and he could see the taillights. He says it's a '68 Cutlass. I had no idea. Nice car apparently that's sitting under this cover. And so if you excuse my analogy, I kind of feel like that's how we are in Leesburg here, is that we're a classic, nice, beautiful city, and we've got this cover over us, and nobody knows what's under here. And I don't feel like we're doing anything to take the cover off to show what it is. And I'm just not hearing anything today that even tells me what we're doing. And so for all we know, and all the people around Central Florida know, is there's a piece of junk sitting underneath that cover. And they don't want to put any money into it. They don't want to come here. And so somehow we got to get that cover off. And I don't hear enough that that gives me confidence to say, go spend $150,000 and we're taking the cover off of this and we're going to show Central Florida what Leesburg really is, and that we're going to promote it. I hear the control coming back, but I still don't see how that's going to work. And it's give me more money and I'll give you more. But that seems to be the answer that I'm getting tonight. So.
I hear what you're saying, but I really think that in the past, the commission really fell down on providing structure or direction to the TV station.
But see, I don't see how that happens, because we sit here and I said the same thing 4 years ago, and so what happened?
I can tell you what happened. We let a PIO be in charge of that twice.
And a very poor PIO the last time.
Which we fired because he was poor. We've had that debate for years, and we brought in a PIO. We paid a PIO $90,000 a year. One guy to send out emails and printed out press releases that he got from everybody else, and we've been paying $75,000 for a production company. We fire the PIO, which saves us money and allows us to give an increase to get better production and not have to share it with nobody. And then, we're judging, and you're not really judging, but you're looking at what we got during those years. And I agree with you, it was poor. But when you have a PIO that shows up to the production studio and says, well, I don't know anything about it, I've never done it before, but here's what we're going to do. I couldn't operate my business that way, and I don't think you could either. And like I said, to me it goes back to I'm sure we could have a debate tonight and all of us hammer out what outlets we want to go, but I don't think we're being fair if we say that what is shown on Lakefront is not pulling the cover off. Everything you look at. Who doesn't like to look at our events that we do? And you talking about events? Lakefront TV don't get to pick the hours we have them, if it's a Sunday, a Tuesday, at 5 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night, you know what I mean? And so people can see that, and they're all archived. If somebody really wants to study, they can go to our website, click on the archives, go back to see the events. And I don't know how showcasing our Christmas parade or Mardi Gras, any of those things for people who like activities is not a positive for us. Now, having listened to what you said, I also understand, though, that there needs to be a more specific campaign. Okay, so I agree with you on that, that we need to dial it in. But I think coming off the heels of the PIO issues that we were having, and then just saying, hey, we've been doing all this persuasion for all these months, and you've been going out chasing money. Now there's no chasing money. There's no sharing with any other entities around us. It's all Leesburg, and here you got 3 years to get us on the map. So. Unless you have some specifics that you would like to see. I could go through a bunch of things. But rather, I can do that tonight. But I'm looking at the contract. Could we do a 6-month termination rather than a 15-month termination provision in it? And is that but.
I think what I'd like to propose too, since we don't have a public information officer, and over the years I have become closer and closer to the different department heads, what I like to propose is regular meetings and better communication between the departments with Lakefront TV. The library has been very supportive. Travis and the entire team from Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec have been very receptive of Lakefront TV. Matter of fact, Travis and I have a concept of kind of doing that was then, this is now, sort of a reflection, a half-hour monthly series looking at the parks and sort of why those parks are named what they are, the history behind them to teach the next generation, and of course then profile the amenities of those parks. So, I just feel as though I just need to have a better communication, or we're the only city in Lake County that has, well, I guess a handful in the whole country.
We're the only city in Lake County that has an airport and a hospital and a college and lakes.
colleges.
And,
Two colleges,
you
yeah.
know, I mean, we're the only city that has all of those things.
Right.
There's no city in Central Florida other than Orlando that has what we have.
Exactly.
And, you know, what are we doing to promote that? And it should be easy for us to overcome the negative publicity that we get out there. So, I mean, I could run through some things. I'll go through them. I think, you know, with our schools, and there would be a balance in this, because I don't want to degrade our public schools. I have confidence in them, have confidence in our new principal that we have at our high school here, and so I think there needs to be some positive reflection on that. But I think I would let Central Florida know that we have good private schools in Leesburg, some first-class schools, and so if you can come here with the property values and the amenities that are in Leesburg, and you can actually enroll your kids in private school and spend less money for the same house that you would have in Orlando to have it in Leesburg, and have your kids in private school and still be spending less money than your kids going to public school in Orlando. So so that's one example of what I could do. Would take the houses that are in the neighborhoods, and I've mentioned this 4 years ago, that as I knocked on the doors in Leesburg, Edmond Street impressed me with that little street over there. And I was just over there the other day. I had a in-home house call for a client. And I was over on that street again, and here 4 years later, it's still maintained beautifully. That little section of street there, small, you know, 1,200 square foot houses with nice lawns, well-maintained exteriors, no cars parked in the driveway, in the yards, no trailers and landscaping trucks and nothing like that. They're painted, the windows are taken care of. It's an example of what someone can do with a small house in Leesburg for very little money compared to what you pay for that same house outside of Leesburg. So if we can attract home buyers that would want to come and take a house and make it into that in Leesburg for such a deal, and have their kids in private school if necessary, or invest in the public schools, then what a great opportunity to come here with all the amenities are here. And you're right, we do advertise and publicize the events that mostly the partnership puts on, which shows the value of the partnership. But all those events that you're talking about, those are partnership events, and I know we've been supportive of them.
Well, I know Congressman Webster actually stopped by today, well, not his staff, and they actually want to propose to Lakefront TV doing a quarterly sort of update from the congressman.
But rather than go through everything, I could go through any number of things.
Here's my expectation, and here's my expectation. When we changed over with the PIO position, we eliminated the PIO position, and Pam and I absorbed some of those duties. I think our presence on Facebook was increased. And I think you all have positively commented about that. And that is the type of thing that I see Dr. Anna Marie picking up. Stories, just like you mentioned, Commissioner, stories, they need to put story out there about what's going on Edmond Street. They need to do a story about Ski Beach. They need to do a story about what we're doing at the Lakefront Center. They need to do a story about some of the positive changes the CDC has had and the resource center's impact on the community. They need to do a video story about the FSL program and get the word out to local businesses that you can come in and you can get a grant. They need to do a story about our partnership with the villages. So there's a million type of these peel off the cover to the car type stories that my expectation is for 150 grand. Dr. Anna Marie is going to walk into my story, and one of the five of you are going to call me, and you're going to want a story on X, and I'm going to say, Dr. Anna Marie, I want a story on X, and I don't want to hear Dr. Anna Marie say, well, I'm busy with doing something with Uncle Joe, or I'm busy with getting a grant thing down there. It's going to be, Dr. Anna Marie, I want a story on X, I want it now. And it's going to be, yes, sir. So if that happens, then I think the expectation of pulling the covers off. The question becomes, and if that happens, then I do think you'll have value of that.
And City Manager, remember I proposed, in the sense of, I guess, the last go-around, I think it'd be really great, I'm not sure who we assign to it, but whether it be the department heads or whether it be a board, sort of a board in the sense of, hey, this is, have a structure in regards to, these are the important topics that we need to do this quarter, next quarter. Yeah, no matter what you say, public access, digital platform, just social media, the city has its own TV channel, which I know Commissioner Hurley brought up. For one of those months to be on Prism, it's about $25,000 a month to be on Prism, $22,000 on Comcast. If anything, I would like to be the communication force, and still, whether you believe in public access TV or digital platform, creating really good quality videos that could be used multiple platforms. So, but I agree. We've discussed in the past having better structure, better sort of appreciation of the channel. I hate to say it's sort of sometimes thought of as a little redhead stepchild, but the fact of the matter is I wish the commission and the city, the different departments, would embrace it and appreciate the fact that you do have this platform and you do have a full broadcast production company, from motion to filming to editing, and it's been a pleasure. I just think that we just need to do it better, and the only way I could do that is to get more bodies. More and more people are demanding coverage, and we're spread thin, and the only way we could do more coverage is to go out and get grants, because right now my priority is to the city of Leesburg. So.
And let me just project something here. Maybe it'll help you, because I don't know. I don't know what you've done in the advertising marketing world when you talk about branding, but for the Leesburg dealerships that we have, okay, and all we do is brand and market sales in just this area right here, okay. We don't go outside of here. We go to the Villages, Claremont, Mount Laurel, that area. We spend $50,000 a month per store, so we spend $200,000 a month just trying to get people around here to come to see us. You know what I mean? And that's a month. If you take that and project it out over the 12 months, that's and so what we're saying is, for 150, which if we get grant money stuff, let's say 125, for 50,000 more than we're already spending, we're in control, and she doesn't have to chase money and doesn't have to do stuff with other cities. I know where you're wanting to go. I wholeheartedly agree. I just think we're getting there. It's like a train. It takes a long time to get it going. The beautiful thing is, once you do, it rolls forever. And I think this gets us over the hill and starting on a downward slope where we get some momentum. And that's what I feel that we need to do.
Like I said, I don't have a problem with the 150,000. I've observed the doctor around for what she's done for Leesburg, what she's doing for the mall there, and I have an expectation that she can do what I'm saying to be done for Leesburg. I just want to see it be done.
I agree with you.
I think it's a value. I do think it's a valuable asset to have the station, and if it can be used the right way, you've got a good product to sell in Leesburg.
Well, and the other thing is that, if we get some more grant dollars in, and I like to see is, again, getting back to our server, like the Leesburg Christmas parade, the Light Up Leesburg, there's no reason with our technology in our day and age, in the sense of there's a technology, and it's not expensive, Joincaster, where we could go out and we could film and go be filming live and be at the same time, streaming at the same time on YouTube, our Facebook channel, and Twitter. So that's what Orange TV is doing in the sense of cross-platforming. They're actually going live filming events, but they're also at the same time using Joincaster to go live at those events on those digital platforms. So it is the future. I want to attract. We obviously have a changing demographic here, a younger demographic moving into Leesburg area. So finding a balance where we could be serving our veterans, our 50-plus population, but at the same time really attracting a younger generation to fall in love with Leesburg.
And on a side note, can I just say too to Dr. Anne Marie, I appreciate tonight that when you came here to discuss this, that you did not load this room with 250 people to say we like Anne
I
Marie.
told them to stand down.
No. I know, but so many people do that, and I know how many groups you did, and you could have. I appreciate that you did not flood us with a room full of people.
No, I do thank a couple of people that did show up for my support, though. Cheryl Bloom is here. Cheryl's a good friend, and we did a Taste of Lake episode with her restaurant, and so she's a little bit of a celebrity, so I appreciate her support. But no, like I said, I tried to be straightforward. I appreciate Mr. Minner, city manager, helping me with the proposal, and very pleased with it. And anyway, I just want to be a positive moving forward.
So, and one, my issue has never been spending $150,000 on marketing the city. I've been supportive of that and would even spend more to market the city. My issue has always been spending all of our marketing dollars on public access TV. I think it is an important component of our marketing budget, but it shouldn't be 100% of our marketing budget. And that, because I don't, I'm sure you have the numbers, but the amount of people that we reach, I'm sure it's less than 5%, not that have access to it, but actually watch it. Because I don't want to know how many households could watch it, how many people actually, what your share is, when they're actually turned on. It's a number, but it's a small number. I'm sure. I can't imagine Jenkins is spending money advertising on public access TV. You're spending money on different networks that cost a lot more money.
No, absolutely.
And that's my point, is that it's got to be shared. So we talk about digital, and that sounds good.
Yeah.
But that costs money. You can't just put it out on YouTube. I mean, you put some stuff out now on YouTube,
Right.
but people don't see it unless you spend to promote it. So are you going? You're spending out of this $150,000 to promote it?
Yes.
So we're going to see boosted stuff, and we're
I've
going to see
actually-
it
exactly.
marketed out there. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
You
it's-
brought up a very good point, though. Why is our budget for economic development and publicity only $150,000? Maybe we're on a downfall there. If we want to increase our visibility, why isn't there another campaign going on? And yes, I realize I just agreed with you that we've got to get out there and do more. The television is great, but we shouldn't depend on it 100%.
Well, I think, and I totally misread this earlier, but, so with the 15-day notice on it, if we go ahead and do this, if we can work on other marketing campaigns, and then somehow that piggybacks onto this, or this piggybacks onto that campaign, or we need to modify this down the road. But
Well, there's no reason why that, in the sense of Spectrum and my relationship with the other channels, that we can't be producing stuff and have another budget that, why should you pay a marketing company to come in? Because a marketing company that would come in and do television is going to basically charge you guys a percentage that they take back. So if you guys would say that Lakefront TV is the marketing company for the city of Leesburg, usually they take about. So if I was, say, an outside company, and I'm going to buy you some ad time for Jenkins, and we're going to do a $10,000 campaign, I sell that to you for $10,000. Spectrum would give me back, as a marketing person, 15% of that into my pocket. If I was the marketing person for City of Leesburg, I would go to Spectrum and say, okay, I want to buy a $10,000 campaign this month to advertise this on, say we want to go after the 4 surrounding counties, say we want to do weather.com, Weather Channel, HGTV, CNN, those channels people are watching, to take our spots that we're airing to promote Leesburg onto those markets. I would just basically say that I don't want the 15% back in my pocket, put that 15% towards more airtime. So I don't know why you'd want to hire another marketing company when you already have your own production company, marketer, myself, to be able to do those ad buys for you, because in the long run you'll be saving money and getting more exposure. So maybe we should discuss, if you guys do want to do some ad buys on other channels outside of Lakefront TV, it's a no-brainer. It's pretty straightforward. I've done it for other companies in the past.
You do branding. We just opened up a store that'll actually open on the 26th in Jacksonville. And I'm not publicly going to say what we're spending there to get our name out. But, just hiring a consultant can be $100,000. Just a consultant to tell you what to go do. And yes, I do. We are a public, whatever it is, service television. But I'm just saying that there's value and there's ways. And I think that given the opportunity, I think that now that the city, not saying, but now that the city's kind of back in charge, and the city being not a PIO, but really it's us. Like Al said. if we see something, we can say Al, and Al can, because her schedule's now focused on Leesburg. She's not chasing money and not working 100 different places, and I think it, really at that point, it'll probably fall on us if it don't work, because we'll be the guys in charge telling her what to do, and we won't have anybody to point the finger to but ourselves, honestly. So, you know, for 50,000 more, I mean, I obviously support it. That's just where I'm at. I think.
And if you guys want me to seriously get a campaign for 2019, when you guys want to do something, I'd be more than glad as a consultant, to provide you guys a platform if you guys want to go outside in different markets, whether it be, you know, Spectrum or in the Orlando market, whatever. So, anyway, more than glad to help in any way. But thank you.
Well, New York and Michigan's already figured out how to get here, so we need to focus somewhere else.
Well, I think, you know, just to add, and I'm, you know, I'm good with this, and I hope to see, you know, some future campaigns come out of it. But I think, you know, you just mentioned that you're seeing the younger families. I mean, I think that's kind of exactly what I'm talking about, is that the opportunities that are there for nice young families to come to Leesburg and really have some amenities that with what we've done at Venetian Gardens and Beverly Shores and other places, in the parks, at what we have, the schools and just the opportunity, the hospital, the things that are here. I think we can really attract, you know, some young families that would just make Leesburg even more vibrant and able to thrive.
Question for you. I had asked you to make a advertisement video, which you did.
Yeah, real
and you
Florida,
gave to
real
me.
close.
Did you ever give that to anybody else ever see that? Did you ever show that to anybody else?
I don't know if everybody, I think I shared it, the Real Florida, Real Close.
Did you guys ever see the 30-second commercial she created?
I saw it. I've actually just tried to find it. I can't find it on YouTube.
If you go to, if you go
It was
to,
actually phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that's something that we could send wherever.
actually, can we
I
play
didn't mean
it?
it that way. That's not what I meant.
Well, but if I could just add another thing, I'm going to go back to when we had the school board, the school teachers were here and everything. And if you remember, one of the things that they said that they were challenged with is they have a trouble getting teachers to come here, just because of the name Leesburg. Essentially, is that, you know, why do I want to go to Leesburg? And so you know, all these things kind of connect together. You know, the little clip that you're talking about, and that, you know, it's. I think it would be easy to overcome that in the right campaign and the sending the images and the people here in Leesburg to do that, and so we'll get on that track.
The tagline was "Experience Leesburg the way Florida was meant to be."
That's right. Yeah, I can see it.
But yeah, I mean, the realtors really picked that up, and it's, anyway, hopefully it brought more people here. But it was something that we wanted to kind of show that the city does need to be branded, and that's something we can do. It was kind of an example of the power of, I guess, the media. So anyway, it would be an honor to serve you guys again for another 3 years. So thank you for allowing me to speak.
All right, yeah, and I can, given the digital stuff, and if we're actually going to promote it, I can get behind doing it. But I will just say that, because I've never had a doubt in the quality of the production, because I've seen some of the things like that. Real Florida one was very good, but what I want to see for this money is more distribution across different platforms and getting that message out, or I'll be bringing it back up in a year and not 3 years. But I hope not, because I would rather not have to deal with this again for another 3 years. So that would be great. All right, any other comment from the public? Any other comment from the commission?
No.
Roll call.
Commissioner Bone?
Yes.
Hold it, you got somebody coming up to the podium. He's coming.
Don't make us change our mind.
Don't look a gift horse.
Good evening. First, I want to, Mr. Hurley, I could have filled this room, you know that, and I appreciate the comment. I have been with Lakefront TV for 9 years. I'll be starting my 10th season. And I have seen the quality of what Dr. Anna Marie has done with the station. I started with Jim Archer. I don't know how many of you people were around then 9 years ago, but what we've done now and the possibility of what can be done is amazing. You talk about education, We did a program right down here in the park, all about the World War II monument, where we went through each panel. Myself and a Leesburg resident named Wally Lambert, which I was hoping the schools would pick up on. Did another episode about the Korean War, which I was hoping people would pick up on. But the one down at the park, I wanted to try to drive the people to the park, because I have been involved in the veterans community over 30 years. And Mr. Bone, you talked about taking the cover off. Well, let me tell you, when I started with nine years ago, if you went and opened up the Daily Commercial, there was an ad, and it said what was on Lakefront TV. There is no more ads about Lakefront TV. There's Lake Sumter, but there's nothing promoting Lakefront TV. You had a public information officer, in my opinion, didn't do anything. He liked to hang around the station and play saxophone. And he wanted to be part of it, all that, but he didn't do his job. As far as I'm concerned, no disrespect, I like him. But, you know, you have a bill you send out every month. Why don't you put an insert? Check out Lakefront TV so people can look at it. You know, you don't promote the station. We don't promote the station the way it should be promoted. And it has a tremendous potential. And speaking for the veterans community, has done so much, and even the veterans community has donated towards the station. And I am proud, very proud and honored what the local businesses and individuals have done to build a brand new TV set for me, for Lakefront TV, so we can do our veterans program. That's the highest thing I could ever have. In closing, I want to say one other thing. I visit a lot of different places all around and talk about Leesburg and Lakefront TV and the educational values that we do with Salute. A lot of people don't even know we're here. And I have a friend who watches me up in Connecticut. He even tried to get us on 60 Minutes, the show we did with the B-29 and the B-17, trying to educate our young people. And nobody has done more to try to educate young people about veterans and veterans affairs. I have been at it for 30 years. I used to go to the schools up north. I did educational programs. I did a couple of them down here. And you have, and if you have, you can go in the future where you can do live production. You can put it out there. Tune in on such and such a day, or you're going to show the event, you know, and you have a lot of potential. And I think, you know, you need to really look at it. And but anyway, come one way or the other, I'm very appreciative of what the City of Leesburg has done for our veterans, and I'm very appreciative of the businesses and people who saw to it that I had this nice, beautiful set, and I hope I can use it. Thank you.
Hi, I'll keep this short. 15 years ago, when we moved here into Fruitland Park, my husband found this little TV station, and it was Lakefront TV. It was the coolest little thing. It was unique. Valerie Hart, God rest her soul, was on there. And we got to learn a little bit about the community, what was going on. We got to watch some different, you know, commissions and different things that was, and we went to the restaurants. Little did I know at that time I was going to open up a restaurant, but 7 years later, I did open a restaurant, and Valerie Hart came in and did a back in the kitchen with me, and got a lot of publicity from that and brought in a lot of people. It was very, very unique. I was very honored to have something like that happen to a little podunk me that should be working in my garden at this time in my life. But and then Anna Marie comes in and did another one, and people keep coming in and saying, "Oh, we saw you on TV. That is so cool," and just amazed at how. I'm amazed at how many people, including the villages, including, you know, all the plantations and all the different, 55 plus and over communities do watch it and do see it, and it has made an impact. And I don't have to go out and solicit for it. These people come in and actually tell me all about it. So I just wanted to let you know that there are people out there that do watch it, and we still watch it, my husband and I, and so I just think it's a cool thing for our city to have. So very unique. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Roll call?
Commissioner Bone?
Yes.
Commissioner Hurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Dennison?
Yes.
Mayor Roebuck?
Yes. Okay, on to 5A, which is the city manager evaluation. Just if we all got them, and if anyone has any specific comments they'd like to make publicly, now would be an appropriate time. Or if not, we can keep on moving. So, comments?
I didn't fill mine out because I don't want to put it in public record.
So you just talk about it.
In case you change your mind.
But I want to put it on Lakefront TV because it's. I do. I've said it a couple times at different events, but I don't mind saying it again tonight. All of us possess strengths and weaknesses, and I think if you look at Al, one of the great characteristics that I've seen from him over the last few years is he acknowledges his areas that would be considered weaknesses. He takes those as learning tools, and he becomes stronger because he develops those areas. And if you look at what he's done, anybody who can take 5 bosses and somehow make it happen and put their goals together, everything from saving us a ton of money and all the refinancing and restructuring we've done over the years, being able to help us generate great deals that brought a lot of revenue to the city and allow us to do a lot of the major projects that we have debt-free, and be able to help us. I mean, we've been speaking on it tonight a lot, but it has been a wonderful cohesive effort on the behalf of our city manager and our commission. We have started turning the corner from the city that all we had was news about shootings or something. As long as there's people, there'll always be crime, but we've turned the corner, I think. We're not quite where we want to be, but I do think that Al, guiding the staff, has done a tremendous job. And so I just applaud him. I'm not going to vote for him a raise this year like we did last year, but I think he's doing a great job, deserves at least a pat on the back. There you go, Al.
I'll just add to that too, and I know this year and the last couple of years, really, I know Al's had a lot on his plate, and staff as well, with the villages and the fiber optics and some pretty major deals with Venetian Gardens and the contract there with the restaurant. And so normally a city manager, I know, has a lot on their plate in the first place, but I think Al's has probably been full, and I know that with some of those things out of the way, and those are going to serve Leesburg well for years to come in the future. And now with some of those things off the plate, I know that there'll be some refocus on probably some other needs that Leesburg has. So Al's always keeps us informed and listens, and trying to, like you said, with 5 bosses, trying to make a consensus and make things happen. I've appreciated all the work, and the right person to have with the things that we've been able to accomplish the last couple of years too.
I think that you're right. The city has really pulled around in the last 5-6 years. And I think the budgeting effort, which was phenomenal year after year, and we've gotten awards year after year with our budgets, but also the fact that we are doing all this work debt-free, and the taxes have not gone up in this city for quite a few years. I think the people that live here should really be happy with that. So I know we had a rough review last year, but Al handled it very well, and he's got some outstanding points, which I will give to him after I make comments in those categories. There's always comments. And I think another strong year. I mean, that's all I can say. It's been a great year.
Hey, we come to meetings and we don't always agree. But every time I call Al and I'm talking to him about this stuff, he goes, "You're right, Jay, I agree with you." Does he say that to y'all?
Never says that.
I won't tell you what he says about you. Yeah, but yeah, I echo all those comments. I think what's really impressive that a lot of people don't realize is the city of Leesburg, our budget for this year is almost just under $167 million. And of course, we spend our time, the majority of our time is spent talking about the $25 million that's the general fund, because that gets the most headlines in most cities. If you looked at one of our size, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about running a budget of around $25 million, but the rest of that $140 million that he has to deal with is a lot between the different utility funds. But make sure that all those behind the scene things work that really make Leesburg what it is, even though people don't see them every day. And of course, that's the large part, not just Al, but all the department heads and all the staff. And I think we have just a really great team, which of course starts at the top. And so, yeah, another good year. Okay. Any city attorney items?
When's the check?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Okay. Sorry, I opened up the budget and lost my agenda. City manager items, yeah. We just talked about it.
Yeah, I appreciate the remarks. Excited to continue with y'all. Actually, December 13th was my 5th year anniversary, so time flies when you're having fun. To close out the year, I'd like to thank everybody for all their efforts and wish everybody happy holidays. I'd like to point out, too, a couple of the folks. Is DC still back there? DC, stand up just for a quick second. I think this Christmas has been exceptionally kind of neat. We did some big changes at Ski Beach because of the Lakefront TV project going on. And so the Public Works Facilities guys have really been doing a lot to make this Christmas different, a little bit special. So this was my first year. Actually, Commissioner Hurley invited me out on his boat to do the boat parade. And seeing Ski Beach this year from the water was really cool. And you could really see the work that everybody put in. Also like to, over in the Planning and Zoning Department, point out Adrian Parker. You've seen Adrian from time to time, but Adrian has done a bang-up job working closely with me on all the villages stuff that's been going on. Anytime you needed a map done or a this done or a legal description written up, Glenn's been doing a bang-up job with the electric guys and keeping them happy. So I think and Jack's not here today, but Jack's been cranking it with some of the village's gas issues that we've gone on, and Jim over there working seamless to keep customer service going and all that kind of stuff. So I think the team's done really great. Excited to continue what's ahead, and wish all you all here on the commission happy holidays, and look forward to keeping it going in 2019.
Okay. Public comments. This section is reserved for members of the public to bring up matters of concern or opportunities for praise. Issues brought up will not be discussed in detail at this meeting. Issues will either be referred to the proper staff or will be scheduled for consideration at a future City Commission meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. And then I have a note on here that we have Alexander Werrell to speak about flags. So, yeah, you're welcome to come on up.
Thank you. I have a business here in Leesburg. I sell flagpoles and flags and their like. And I have had customers like the dealers, the car dealers. And these car dealers are a big asset to the city of Leesburg. You got to realize this. It's a real street of dealers there. And they bring money into the city. Not only that they sell cars, but they also bring people into the city. And you should realize this. You came out with an ordinance by removing all the flag banners out there. Basically, I'm not so much against it. Then they're mostly bought in China and so on. But some of the dealers, I work with Volkswagen a lot, they have flags with a Volkswagen logo. And these flags are done, or banners are done for years. Yet the other day I came to a business here in Leesburg, and they had 2 banners there, and I said, they're outlawed here in Leesburg now. Now I was told we had it grandfathered in. Yes. Is there such a thing that
these banners have been grandfathered in?
No, no. In fact, we passed an ordinance about 4 years ago that gave some, and then there was confusion about it, so we redid it to make it clear that there was no grandfather there.
Yeah, I went to one business, they said, oh, we have the right, we had them grandfathered in. You know, I don't want to name the business, and you can understand that.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, this is one thing about the car dealers. You have approved flagpoles at the mall, which are 20 foot tall, which have normally started out nice with a banner. Now they're all screwed up, there are little flags up there are no flags up there, and so on. Now you approved it for the mall. I suggest, similar like this, 15-foot flagpoles, solid flagpoles, with a banner 30-inch by 8 foot, and that banner has to be changed by contract every 6 months for a new one so that it doesn't look bad. And that's the way it's done in Europe, and we could do that and clean up the dealerships out there very well, and it would look great, believe me. And I could show you pictures from Europe and get you this too, you know? Then it would be a permanent thing, and the dealer has to agree to change. Okay? Also, some ground signs might replace the banners, which would be 3 by 6 foot. They just came out by a manufacturer here in Ocala, and they have a frame, an aluminum frame, and these banners are very stable and wind resistant due to that, you know. So that would be another solution against the flags or the banners you have outlawed, you know. Okay, and I understand you even control the signs who go in the window of a showroom?
No.
We
don't
never
think
talked
so.
about that.
No?
No, I'm afraid if you know of
But
anything.
I was told by one dealer that he was told he couldn't put them in the window.
Or maybe you don't want to buy your sign.
Okay, some other things. The flag in front of City Hall, the state flag and the US flag can be and should be equal size, and it's not. And that's the same in the county, which I would like to address them too. Then there doesn't say nowhere that we have to have a smaller flag for the state than the one for the US. Of equal size, it says in the flag code. Okay, that's one thing. Buy local, yes, that's another big important thing, to buy local. And I quoted lately there to the city for some flags, 12 of them, 3 by 5. And yes, my price was higher than what they have found to buy them. They bought them in Tallahassee from a janitor's service, and they were like $3 less, you know?
No, we do have a local preference ordinance. Now, it typically would only apply to bid, but maybe we need to look at, you know, on purchasing stuff. That may not be within the 5%, but
And you have
typically
to
we give,
realize you have 2 flagpole companies here in town.
yeah, we typically give 5% kind of buffer. So
Yeah. And if it keeps up like this, you don't have any of these companies here anymore, you know? Yes, I have another recommendation also. You're doing Venetian Shores, rebuilding it. There would be a nice nautical flagpole, nice. Tall nautical flagpole.
Do you know where we could get one?
Yeah, I know. I know. I can come right back. Why not? I mean,
No, I just was curious.
it's Lake Shore, you know. It
Sure.
would be nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in favor with you. It's up to these guys. I support you.
Thank you.
yeah.
So that's about it.
Okay. Well, thank you for your recommendations. We'll
Are any of the
take
car dealers represented here?
Are there any here?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just make sure. Hi,
Thank
Maria.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Where's your shop? Where are you located?
I do it out of my house
Do it
and
out
out
of
of my truck.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
Have
thank
shop,
you.
will travel.
Do you have any other public comments tonight? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Bone?
Well, so one thing before I get to my goodbye here. Hey, I was I was driving the other day and realized we've got additional used car lots that are popping up, and so what I've observed is frequently these are old gas stations that become car lots, and so or they may be other abandoned, once used buildings that they're vacant for some period of time. And I know with our car dealers, we have, you know, for a new dealership, they're going to have to meet certain shrubbery standards and so forth. And so used car dealers are part of a cycle of the a decline that happens in a community and neighborhoods. And so it does happen, and I think that, you know, we should be cognizant of that, and that it's happening here, and that maybe there are some ordinances that we can put in place that, you know, with our zoning perhaps, that would a used car lot that is going to take the place of something that was formerly of different commercial use, that maybe it would be an opportunity to trigger requiring certain standards to be added. Because if you go, like for example, one of them I observed that the driveway, that they're parking the cars in the driveways. So what was an entryway into a gas station or other commercial lot is now that driveway has gone from being, you know, 30 feet wide to being 15 feet wide because they're parking their cars in that. And there's no shrubbery or landscaping or anything that's being added either. So I don't think we can particularly stop that cycle of the used cars, but maybe we could make it a little more pretty when it happens, and enforce codes as to the entryways. And so it's just as a thought, maybe a suggestion that we could look at that. So if there's a use, essentially if there's a commercial use that's switching to a used car lot, that it would trigger some sort of a planning review where some conditions could be put on it, and it has to obtain that approval, and they have to continue to maintain their driveway widths and so forth. So that was something I saw. So other than that, it's been a pleasure serving with the, I think this is my last meeting for the year here, and it's been my pleasure working with all of you. I've really enjoyed it. It's I think you know, this commission has worked really hard and really well over the last 4 years to accomplish things. We haven't always agreed, but we've kept a real sense of civility, and with the goal of doing better for our city and our community. Al and the job that he's done and working with him, it's you know, I've enjoyed Andy and what she's done to keep us on track, and all of our city staff and directors. I see Travis there. Hopefully, I signed up to coach basketball next month, so hopefully I've got a team or two to be coaching basketball with my children. Leesburg's a fabulous community. It's one of the best decisions I've ever made to move to Leesburg, and the opportunities that have presented themselves to be able to even serve on the commission, to serve as a mayor of Leesburg, has been a real honor, and I would not have imagined those opportunities. But I'm so happy to have a family to raise here, and the opportunities that are here for businesses and people to live and just have a wonderful lifestyle here in town. And I'll continue my service with the city and the chambers and the partnerships and the Center for the Arts and whatever those things may be. And I'll be back here hopefully to on different issues. And I want to publicly say that I'm grateful for my family. I mentioned it the other night, for my wife for standing by me, and for my little boys, you know, supporting me and allowing me to be here. And they were here for a little bit. I guess they got hungry, and so they went home. But you know, I want to say that this was a hard decision not to do another 4 years on the commission, because I know that there's more things that we I know you're going to accomplish them, and I would love to be part of that up here with you. And so that was a hard decision not to do it. But the determining factor for me is I continue to think about my son, who's now 10, who was 6 years old 4 years ago, and this next 4 years for him, he'll be 14 years old. And I just feel that whatever little extra time I can put into to him and the younger one is the most important thing that I can do over the next 4 years here. And so I look forward to spending that little bit of time and seeing Travis more at the gym and the baseball fields and things to spend that time. And on that note, one of the things that I want to say is for men out there, and it's maybe a little bit odd, but I feel kind of impressed to say this, is for men out there that feel challenged and whatever. Life is hard, and sometimes we don't feel that we have the success that we might want. We hit roadblocks and things in life that may happen, and we just don't feel maybe that you've accomplished in what you thought you would accomplish when you were a youngster. But that role that you have as a father to your children and a husband, but particularly as a father, is the most important role and responsibility that I think we have, and you can be successful at that no matter what your time is, devotion that you have to your business and everything. But that success that you have in your family and with your children is in no way correlated to the success that you have in life. As a business owner or as an employee, or what your job may be, or what clothes you wear, those things do not matter one bit in regards to the success that you can have as a father and the impression that you can make on raising those children that you have. And so I just want to encourage all the fathers out there. This applies to mothers too, but I want to encourage all the fathers out there to never feel that you're not a success in life because of something that the world does not perceive as you being successful, and that you can be the most successful person in life, and more successful than the richest man and the most popular man or person that there is in the world, by the difference that you can make in one child's life, whether it's your own child, or if you don't have one, your neighbors, or your whoever it may be in the community. And so I encourage our men in Leesburg to accept that and to be happy in that role as a father. And I look forward to it, and the little bit of extra focus I can put on again. And again, thank you for all your opportunities and your help with me the last 4 years in serving on the commission here. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Commissioner Hurley.
Well, I want to say it has been a pleasure serving with you as well. I mean, after all, you have the plaque that says sexiest politician. You won that award, so you helped us in that way. And I agree. I mean, with your lawyer tactics that you've used on the commission, there's no doubt you've made all of us mad at you. But after you posted all those muscle pictures in the gym, civility was the only way to go.
Lesson to you.
We opted that way. But no, it's been a pleasure to have you on the commission, and you always brought good debate and discussion and ideas from overseas. And you've definitely left your mark, and I hope you know you have. And I think you've left it in not only things people can see, but in the lives of this city, and definitely in part of this group. So I appreciate everything you've done, and I hope you do stay actively involved.
Thank you.
For me, I just, holidays, we've had a lot of events, and, whether it's the partnership, the chamber, the city, the staff, we've had a lot of things going on. It's all done very well, and now we're kind of winding down. So I just wish all of you and all of you out there Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I can't wait to get back in January and see what we can get started on next year.
Commissioner Dennison.
I also want to mirror what Jay said. I really enjoyed working with you there. Yeah, we've had some ins and outs, but I think on a whole, what I really would like is if you could continue on with your ideas and whatnot, especially as we start to explore a message from the city, because you do have some good ideas, and I'd like to see you stay involved with that. It is going to be a different commission, but I think we're ready to go, and I think it's going to be fine. I also want to wish everybody out there a Merry Christmas, a very Happy New Year, and I want to see your smiling faces come back in January. If you're traveling, please travel safe and have a great time. Thank you.
Mayor Robeck.
So the Construction Academy at LHS it approached the city about if we had a lot within 1 mile, whether we would, a vacant lot we're not using, whether we would consider donating it to Habitat, and then the students would actually be able to build a house there with the program. So I was out to look into it, so we might be coming back if there's something to us.
Yep,
Just wanted to let everyone know. In terms of the flags at the dealerships, because I pushed pretty hard to ban those things, the one thing I would be, at least personally, willing to consider is if there was some sort of trade-off that allowed them in return for some landscaping and keeping the cars off the right of way. So some of our newer dealerships have that and look real nice. Some of the other ones don't. So if someone wanted flags, I'd be willing to think about if there's a way to trade it for landscaping and keeping off the right of ways. I don't know whether we can do that, but and then sidewalk cafes. I know it's coming back to us later, but one thing that was brought to me is that we also need somewhere in that ordinance how those will be treated during special events, and just making sure that because they're city property that we're still tying them to the original business use and not just opened up as kind of free for all. Which I don't really think we have a problem with, but we need to make sure it's actually in the ordinance. So the Chamber Gala was last Wednesday, and first the City of Leesburg did a great job having all the lights at Ski Beach. I think it was fantastic. I'd like to congratulate Commissioner Hurley. Jenkins Auto was the large business of the year, so it was nice to see them recognized. And then Commissioner Christian, who had to leave early, he mentioned if I start coughing, I'm going to leave, and I think we're all happy that he chose to do so. But Commissioner Christian was awarded the leadership award for his all of the efforts he's put through this community for a long time. So that was nice to see. And then with Commissioner Bone leaving, while I don't doubt the sincerity of you wanting to spend time with your kids, it has crossed my mind that you thought, well, in 4 years, the 4 of them are going to be term limited off. Maybe I can get on with the whole new group.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you're right.
but, I really enjoyed serving with you. We haven't always agreed, but you always bring great ideas. And in fact, I remember very distinctly that during one of our more heated discussions, I think you mentioned that, well, I just don't have the vision that you do. And though I would certainly agree with that, but really we need people like you, the visionaries, to push people like me that don't always have that vision. Maybe won't ever, but at least to push us forward. And so I hope you will, continue to stay involved and continue to push us and to push the community forward. So enjoy. And with that, Merry Christmas. Hope everyone has a Happy New Year. And meeting adjourned.